William Bonfilio on the panel as well. Tell us a little bit about this.
So the Iowa Playwrights Workshop started in 2004 with Tallgrass Theater Company, and what they wanted to do was support Iowa playwrights by giving them an opportunity to stage their work. In the last 2 seasons, we've taken that kind of to a new place where we work with multiple playwrights, and the other kind of component of it is really bringing theater and the artistic process to the community by involving them in the workshop process and giving them a voice in what they'd like to see. So we workshop 3 plays over the course of the summer, and then one of those plays is selected by our panel of judges and by the audience to be staged in September.
Now, William, you were a part of this last year and ended up going pretty far with this. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it was a phenomenal experience. It was just such a pleasure to have a work that was really in progress and very raw, to be looked at by people who had some experience in the field and were able to offer some feedback. And it's been wonderful this year to be able to give back and be able to help other developing playwrights. And I feel actually quite a bit of a fraud because I'm really just passing on the same information that I got last year. But I'm having a heck of a good time, eh?
So what was the play that you submitted last year?
Well, my play was a piece that's currently going through a title change, but it was a piece about 2 guys who are at the side of the road and just have to come to grips with their relationship after hitting a little rabbit. It's not really a traumatic event for one of them, but for the other one it represents something larger. And the play sort of goes on and develops that and experiments with that. And it's actually still in a great deal of progress.
I was going to say, what was this workshop able to do for you with being able to submit a piece and have it worked on all summer long?
Well, the workshop allowed me to be able to talk with a director and who had some experience and was able to say, this is what I see for the play and this is what are some potential problems and this is how you can improve it. And additionally, one of the most phenomenal aspects, one of the greatest aspects of this process was being able to work with actors who were also able to voice their insight and say, I like this character, but it doesn't seem consistent. Someone else might say, this character is really well drawn, however the dialogue doesn't really fit well at times. It was really fantastic because a lot of people don't realize that playwriting, unlike, for example, poetry or fiction, is really a collaborative work. You don't really get to write and just throw it out into the world. Instead, it's an interaction between the playwright and also the actors, because they have their own image for it, just as the director has his or her own image for it. And it's really going to represent a much greater cooperative effect.
Now, it's an interesting concept of what you decided to focus on. Was this from personal experience that something like this happened, or how did you come up with the idea?
It was very vaguely from personal experience. I kind of really twisted the truth a little bit. It was just a really silly moment where I was driving home one night and I hit a rabbit, and it was the first time I'd ever killed something in my entire life. And it was just very sillily crushing for me.
I think a lot of people may have that same experience because that is something that if you're driving a vehicle, chances are really good that's going to happen. And I'm sure it could relate to a lot of different people.
Well,
unfortunately, no, you may have struck on a nerve nobody else has touched on. I'm just saying that's brilliant.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah.
But still in work in progress, best case scenario, what would you like to see happen with that piece?
Actually, the piece is on a little bit of a hiatus right now. I'm kind of concentrating on my thesis. I'm at Iowa State, and I'm working on a series of plays for getting an MFA, a Master of Fine Arts there. So it's kind of set aside right now.
But Andrea, like you said, this is an opportunity for Iowa playwrights if they really want to work on their plays or their one-acts or things like that. This is a great opportunity to do so. Where are we in the process of the workshop this summer?
So we have completed 1 reading. St. Maggie happened earlier this month. Had about 3 to 4 rehearsals with that work and went through a lot of growth and change during that time. And then we got to have a reading. Table 128 has been generous enough to open their space to us, which has been very fun. Really wonderful audience feedback and feedback from the panel. So there was a lot of information for Catherine, the playwright, to take with her. We're in the process of working on God Save the Queens right now with another playwright, and that's been a very exciting process. Already seen characters move out of the way and plot lines change and all sorts of things. So it's a very exciting process, and it moves pretty quickly. So
And if people want to be a part of that, they can attend that performance. That's Sunday, July 26th at 5 p.m. and once again at table 128 in Clive. So if people right now want to be a part of the Playwrights Workshop, that'd be a great way to give their feedback and check out what's going on.
Absolutely. And one of the really fun things, it's not only hearing a new work, which is exciting in and of itself, but there's a lot of dialogue that happens after the reading. So the audience gets an opportunity to say, you know, I had questions about this, and I'm confused about this, and is this important? And that's not only information for the playwright, but it's also an opportunity to discuss various aspects of theater and how it hits different generations, and what people take away from it. Is an intentional to leave questions open or not. And so it's really a fantastic way to bring the community into kind of the inner workings of theater and give them a little bit of an education about what the artistic process looks like, what goes into making theater.
If you're an aspiring playwright, maybe you're watching this morning, be like, man, I'd really like to get more involved. What can they look forward to and possibly submitting a piece for next year?
Absolutely. We will take submissions all year round.
Okay.
The deadline is usually about May, since we start the program up in June. So my email address is andrea@tallgrass.org. So feel free to send me your script. There's an application online on our website as well. It details kind of what the process looks like, and what information needs to be included to submit a play, and the application as well.
Okay, and your website is?
tallgrasstheater.org.
Okay.
With the big focus being on local, supporting local artists and doing great things here.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah,
We appreciate
thank you
it.
Thank you so much for having us.
I think what you have, you struck a nerve here. I mentioned that earlier, but I really do, because when you mentioned what happened to you, that's exactly, I can remember the first time that happened. I think a lot of people remember that.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So